let's talk about Shroud by Adrian Chachofsky. This was amazing. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. I absolutely loved it. This is my first book by Adrian, and it will not be my last. I love a deep space sci-fi story, and when I read the premise of this, I was just so excited to get to this book. So the story follows Juna, who works in a special projects team on this large space station that's exploring deep space, looking for different planets that they can harvest resources from and have jumping off points for farther into space missions so that humanity can spread across the stars. There's a terrible accident that happens where Juna and her coworker Mai end up in this little pod and end up plummeting to the moon that they've been researching called Shroud. So this is very hostile, the environment they can't survive in, and they've got evidence of life on the planet. So when they make it down, they find themselves surrounded by aliens, and they need to journey across the entire moon to where they can communicate up to the major space station to call for help. So like I said, this planet, this moon, is hostile. There are so many different aliens, not just one, and they're journeying across. They have no idea what to look out for. They end up surrounded by a group of aliens that are fairly prominent on this moon, and sometimes working against them, sometimes working with them, learning what they can from these aliens, and at the same time, the aliens are learning from them. There is so much I loved about this story. One of them is the relationship between Juna and Mai. So they're coworkers, they're not friends, they're fine together, but to be in a life or death, fighting for your life position, and you're with your coworker, it's just not something I've really read before. So I loved the dynamic between them, and you're not comfortable with someone, so you don't want to completely lose your mind and be embarrassed, so they're trying to hold it together in front of each other and working together. It was a really fun dynamic to read. Another thing I absolutely loved about this book was most of the chapters are written from Juna's perspective. So you're going along and you're experiencing what these aliens are doing around them with the main character. Why are they doing this? Trying to guess, speculate about what's happening. And then every few chapters will have a chapter from the aliens' perspective. And your mind is blown because they explain what they're thinking, and it's oh my gosh, some of that stuff made sense, and we never would have thought of it. It's so alien. So I think this might be common for Adrian's writing. It's on the more complex side. So I would say a sci-fi that a lot of people have read would be something like Project Hail Mary. This is definitely more complex. There's more scientific jargon, but not so much that you should be afraid to read it. Yes, it's not quite as approachable, but the story is so worth it. Overall, this was fantastic. Like I said, 5 stars. A big thank you to NetGalley and Orbit Books for the eARC of this in exchange for my honest review.